our buddy Joel Corey, CBSSports.com, hell of a writer, and a longtime member of the NFL community. He used to be an agent. And after negotiating deals and stuff like that, he decided to come on over and join the media. And now he writes for CBSSports.com and does some of the most insightful journalism on contract negotiations and disputes that you'll find anywhere. So I always want to take the time and salute Joel Corey whenever we're talking about one of his articles. He took a look at the 9 most likely franchise tag candidates for the upcoming offseason. And I want to know how you guys would feel if the decision came down to give a franchise tag to, because there's 2 Cowboys on this list. The first one, Dalton Schultz. And the franchise tag would be an increase because he's already on it. It would bump him up from what he's making now, $10.9 to $13.1 million. You want Dalton Schultz back for another year on the tag, Brian?
I don't think so. I've got other things that I could look at with that. They've proven that they're able to find, draft, develop tight ends. So I'm going to ride this thing out with Ferguson. I'm going to ride it out with Hendershot, and I'm going to feel like that, maybe in the 4th, 5th round, there'll be another tight end there that you could
right now
draft.
You're heading for 3 years of cheap tight end, and that is gold for you if those guys play well. Are you getting fall off from Schultz to Ferguson and Hendershot?
Well, yeah, of course they throw the ball to Schultz. He makes some really, really nice plays for you.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like, though, that he had to develop too. Just like, and I kind of feel like that, Ferguson's a guy. If I had to bet who would be better between Ferguson and Hendershot long term of just catching the ball, I think it'd be Ferguson who I would go with. But both of those, having a guy like Schultz, it's shown though, having him in the red zone and things like he's become a better blocker because of those 2 young kids.
Yeah.
So I kind of
they give you the physicality, and I feel like early in the year when Cooper Rush was quarterback, they were showing they could be factors and maybe even give you more athleticism running after the catch.
I'm going to need his money. That's kind of why I'm only going to do this because I need his money. That's the only reason why I wouldn't do it.
I think we saw it when Schultz missed some time. Those guys stepped up and were just fine.
Yeah.
So you're all right. I think Ferguson's the future with those 2, and it's no disrespect to Dalton Schultz. Go get your money. You deserve it. You've earned it. You're a hell of a player. But the Cowboys have filled that spot, and they'll be okay moving forward.
Okay, then the other player that'll be a franchise tag candidate for you, and it'll be really interesting to see how they play this, is Tony Pollard. And the running back franchise tag is around $9.5 million this year. But he appears to be headed for close to 1,200 yards. He's second in the NFL at 5.7 yards per attempt. And the Cowboys are in a spot where they could let both running backs go and not have anything. So there's a lot of different ways that you could play this. Bringing Zeke and Pollard back appears at this moment to be highly unlikely unless Zeke would take a huge pay cut. But most teams aren't going to give even one running back double-digit millions. Giving essentially 2 would be a very interesting team-building decision. But there's no doubt Tony Pollard is massively important to this year's success, and I think he's going to be one of the more difficult running backs to replace that production. So I would not go into this lightly at all, Wolchuk.
I would be on board with using the tag on Pollard. If you somehow can negotiate a team-friendly deal that you're comfortable with and he's comfortable with, then all right. But otherwise, I'm fine with you tag him for a year and you draft a back. I think you can find a running back. I think this is a really good running back class. I'm liking what we're seeing in this year's group. And it's weird because I really thought this was going to be the last year of Zeke, but the closer we're getting to this offseason, I think you're going to have a DeMarcus Lawrence type of situation where they get that money reworked. They're going to get his cap number down, and I don't see Zeke going anywhere.
That would be awesome.
16.7 right now.
He's not. There's no way they keep him at that number. It's way too high, but I don't think Zeke wants to go anywhere. And I think we've heard all year the affinity that Jerry has towards Zeke. Yeah. I think he wants Zeke here too. So, and he's still a solid combo back. So I think they get that number to where it's fair. I don't mind tagging Pollard, but I think you got to draft a running back for the future. I'm not in love with giving any running backs multi-year deals anymore, unless they're just truly a once in an era type of guy. Pollard's a great player. I just don't know 2 years from now, is Pollard still going to be amazing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't want to let it go. I think it's tough to make a decision on guys like Zeke right now. And I feel like the great coaches over the years that have, dipped their toes in team building, like Bill Walsh and Bill Belichick, this is the moment where you let a guy like Zeke go, where everybody loves him. And you're like, well, we could keep him around. He was still pretty good, right? That's where the great team builders say, oh, no, this is where we move on. We would much rather be a half season early than a season late.
Absolutely.
And that's, I think, what applies here more than ever. But I don't know how the Cowboys are going to justify that. They could look at what Zeke does for the spirit of that locker room and the pass protection as so vital that it won't surprise me if they choose Zeke over Pollard.
I'm with you, man. They seem to love him.
Anything
they love Zeke
in the spectrum. How do you think they play it, Brian, between Pollard and Zeke?
I was just, not that I'm any great at numbers, but just looking at them, like your dead money is about 5.8, but you save 10.9 on a post-June 1 for Ezekiel Elliott. You look at Tyron Smith, you move on from him, it's a dead money of $4 million, but you save 13.6.
Yeah.
Between the two, that's $23 million right there. I'm even going to go down to Jordan Lewis on a $5 million savings there. I kind of feel like that you can get enough money to do what you need to do. But, you
also have Dak's number jumping $40 million.
49.1.
Dak's cap number goes up $30 million. My bad. It goes from 20 to 50.
Actually, 31. Yeah,
you're right. They'll
Yeah.
probably do something with that. Kick the can down the road type thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things to do, but you have a nice collection of good players, and it's a winning formula. So I don't want to turn over too much of it. Now with Tyron Smith, I think there's an age and injury factor that unless he plays outstanding in the playoffs, I think that's a must move on. But everything else, there's quite a bit of fluidity to it.